How do I find my passion? I feel I am heading nowhere. That's the question. How do I find my passion? I feel I am heading nowhere. Passion is not excitement. Passion is not about treating a particular work or action as special. Passion is not expectation of pleasure from whatever you are doing. Passion is not even being serious about something. Passion cannot be contained in an image. You can never say that I am passionate about such things. But we do say that. Given our self-image, we have given an image to passion as well. And it is quite a prevalent illusion. People keep searching for their so-called passion all their life. And the amusing part is, some even succeed. What we usually refer to as passion is just our egocentric patterns which like a particular activity, object or person with full confidence that this liking will only further boost the ego and reinforce the patterns. This is what we usually call as passion. Now obviously this passion is limited and subject to change. What is meant by this passion being limited? When you say that you are passionate about playing a game, or you are passionate about a person, you could not be possibly playing that game 24 hours a day. You cannot be with that person 24 hours a day. And even if you are with that person, the person changes. The moods, attitudes, behavior of the person towards you changes. You cannot be passionate about everything related to that person. So the commonly held notion of passion gives you an excitement, a high, and then terrible lows. And when you experience the lows, you want the highs even more. That's the cycle that the mind remains trapped in. You experience a high, and the high has a low contained in its very structure, and sooner than later the low exposes itself, gets revealed. And when the low gets revealed, you do not understand that this low is the inevitable other side of the passion. Instead, you think that the passion is a cure for this low. You do not understand that this low itself is the passion. Just that mistakenly you had identified passion with only the high. You had forgotten that highs and lows go together. The passion, after repeated attempts, after several highs and lows, fades away, and then the elusive search again resumes. You say, I haven't found my passion in life, I haven't found the perfect person in life, I do not know what my dream job is, or sometimes I still haven't found enlightenment in life. That is the ultimate expression of passion. That is the sense in which we refer to enlightenment, the highest high. Now, this is our definition of passion. Me remaining what I am, I want an object, an activity, a person, something which makes me feel alive, which makes me feel excited. This definition is just a recipe for suffering. And I know most of us are looking for something like that, aren't we? Quite a few young people here, and we are looking for our Mr. or Miss Perfect. One particular person who would give me a feeling of vibrancy, of vitality, of the heights of experience and consciousness. We are looking for that. Are we not? We only get frustration. We only get deception. And we do not know whom to blame. So we find some target. or we blame the entire world. We say my life could not attain its climax, and for this all these situations are responsible, or these particular people are responsible. It never crosses our mind that our concepts might be responsible. This idea that I am made for a particular job, a particular place, a particular activity or person, or a particular ideology, this idea is responsible. So if we have young people here, they are constantly wondering, what is the work area in which I can feel passionate? As if passion is contained in the work. As if work can supply passion to you. But don't we ask this question? What kind of job to choose? And several of you are asking that question these days. Which job to pick? And after the job, after a few more years, we will ask which man or woman to pick, as if the man or woman can bring the passion to your life. Passion is not in an object. A passionate life is not about being with a person or doing a particular activity X hours of the day. I repeat, there is no activity that you can continue doing 24 hours. If an activity brings you passion, then 24 minus X hours you will only get frustration. Your definition of passion coincides with frustration. Whenever you hear somebody making a statement like, I am passionate about X, and that X could be anything, rest assured that the fellow is mistaken and is either suffering or would soon learn that he is suffering. Then what really is passion? And how is it related to work? It's quite instructive that in an etymological sense, the word passion is connected to pain. Pain. India has a beautiful name for the kind of pain that the word passion refers to. The name is Virah or Viyog. So the mind is displaced from the center as it is, and there are 1,000 things happening that take the mind away from the source, from the origin. And then the mind experiences a call to return. The more it is displaced from the source, the deeper is its angst. It wants to go back to the source. In going back to the source, the mind, being what it is, will do something, because even to reach a state of non-doing, the mind only knows doing. The mind only knows doing. This experience of the mind is passion. Whatever road the mind chooses to return to the center is the road of passion. If a person, if the company of a person helps you go back to the center, then you can say that you are passionate about that person. If a particular activity, work or job helps you become peaceful, silent, then you can say that you are passionate about that work. And remember, when you want to return to the center, you cannot say that my return journey is limited to 8 hours a day. Then anything and everything that you do would just be a movement towards home. Now you are not involved in a passionate activity, instead you are living a passionate life. And whatever you are doing is just restoring peace back to your mind. Or to put it more accurately, restoring your mind back to peace. Now, what can help you find your passion? Only that which you are passionate about. And remember, that cannot be an object. That's what we have been repeatedly saying. You are passionate about only one. You want a certain peace. You are troubled by noise and disturbance. You want rest. Your mind is tired and worn out. That's what you're passionate about. That's what you are seeking. A deep relaxation. That relaxation keeps calling. You have to be sensitive to the call of peace. And it's a continuous sensitivity. When you are sensitive to it, then naturally the call itself decides your actions. When you are experiencing an urge to move towards peace, then you will obviously pick up places, people and actions that take you towards peace. And this picking up, this decision making is happening continuously. You are continuously deciding and choosing. When you are passionate about the only one who deserves to be the center of passion, then all your decisions take you towards that center. Then you say that I am with people whose company is relaxing. Decision made. You cannot tolerate to be with people who disturb you. And when I say people, I do not really mean flesh and blood, because the same man can sometimes disturb you and sometimes bring you to peace. So I do not mean a particular person. I mean his particular state of mind. Then you will by yourself pick up work which deeply relaxes you. And remember, this is not the superficial relaxation of the ego. This is not a satisfaction of your desires that I am talking about. I am talking about a relaxation in which you do not have to carry the load of your own self. That is real relaxation. I am relieved even of my own self, my desires, my expectations, and the rest of it. So let's look at these things once again. You cannot be passionate about a fixed object. You can be passionate only about your own heart. That is your deepest urge. To unite with your own self. That is the real meaning of passion. I am displaced, I want to return. This is passion. I am passionate about returning to the center. That is the real meaning of passion. And when you want to return, then you keep choosing the right roads to return. Then all your choices are in the direction of returning, not in the direction of creating more separation, not in the direction of creating more disturbance and noise. You will know what food to eat. This is a passionate choice. Usually we do not attach the word passion to these so-called small matters. You will know which clothes to wear. It is a matter of passion. You will know whether or not to watch the television and what to watch in the television. It is a matter of passion. Then you will just not say that I am passionate about playing guitar, or I am passionate about watching football, or I am passionate about earning my next crore. Then passion is a continuous remembrance. Continuous remembrance. Now it's a, as we said, a passionate life. And do not associate the word passion with seriousness. Passion is not seriousness. Passion is an intense lightness. It is an intense lightness. I am combining these two, intense lightness. On one hand, there is an intense urge to return. On the other hand, there is a lightness that you are returning. There is an intensity in your urge to return, and at the same time you cannot be serious about anything because you know that you are returning, so you are light and relaxed. And the more you are returning, the more light and relaxed you are. Now passion is there in your heartbeat, it's there in your breath. Walking, you are passionate. Eating and sleeping, you are passionate. And if somebody asks you, what are you passionate about? You cannot answer. You need not answer. Because any object of passion, except that which cannot be an object, is a heresy. Any other object, or better put, any object will only give you disappointment. Your expectations are bound to be defeated, and frustration is all that you will get if you are passionate about anything. Anything in particular. Either you will have to lead in totality a life immersed in passion, or you have no passion at all. No passion at all. But it doesn't quite appear appealing to the ego, right? Because when the life itself is passionate, then there is nothing extraordinary about any action. All actions are steeped in passion. So you cannot pinpoint that this is what I am doing passionately. Then to the outsider, your life will appear quite ordinary. Whatever he is doing, he seems to be doing with a similar state of mind. So it appears that there are no highs in his life. Whereas, if you have that normal conventional definition of passion, then there surely are extraordinary things in your life. Then you can proudly go out and declare, right now this is my passion time. And you can record yourself indulging in your passion and put it up on YouTube, and the world would applaud. See how passionate. How passionately is he enjoying his vacations. And he is jumping, shouting. It appears that he has just been let out of a jail. He is so overwhelmed. And that exactly is the case. This kind of a passion is just the release of pent-up frustration. You have been let out of a jail. So all the suppressed energy is now expressing itself. To the ego, this kind of a passion appears attractive. Do not be mistaken, do not be taken in by such displays. This is not passion, this is just suffering expressing itself. This extraordinary display of energy and intensity is false, misleading. Be thoroughly passionate. Let passion be there in every movement of the mind. Lead a passionate life. Anything in this?
My question to you, sir, is that within 24 hours, if there are X hours which are spending on some activity which is giving high passion, and a few hours of that X minus 24 minus X is giving frustration, that means that is not real passion, isn't it?
See, that means that you are still the kind of mind who can be in the first activity yet tolerate the second activity. If you are saying the first activity takes you towards your center and the second gives you frustration, it only indicates that you are still a mind that, in spite of being in the first activity, can still tolerate the second activity. It means you aren't yet immersed even in the first activity. Had you gone really deeply into the first one, then coming back to the second would have become impossible. Which means that you can't even be passionate in the first activity. Had you been really passionate there, then that passion would have become so clear and so inevitable that it would have become an overarching thing. You would not have been then able to return to your dispassionate ways.
So there can be two types of activities. If I see my entire day, there is X that I like to do, and when I do X, I forget the world and I'm completely into net types. And then when there is Y activity, I'm lethargic, looking at the watch again and again. So one is that my ego likes X, it gets nurtured, and in Y it breaks. Is there a possibility that X helps me return to the center and so I like it, or I feel good about it?
No, surely X would be helping you return to the center. That is the only way one can really like something. But remember, if the mind is such that it is able to drop X and go to Y, then this mind could not be honest even with X. Because with X, even with X, it continuously knows that Y is on its way. No, it cannot be fully immersed in the X activity. If X activity takes you to the center, why should X ever stop? But even with X, this mind knows that Y is coming and is okay with that idea. It knows that X has a cutoff point after which Y starts. And is okay with that cutoff. If one is okay with cutting off that which one is passionate about, then obviously there can be no real passion. So, kindly never take this division to be real. Whenever there is this kind of a division that I am passionate about something that I do for 5 hours or 10 hours and I am not passionate about the rest of my day, then please be assured that you cannot be really passionate even about those 5 or 10 hours thing, because in some way that 5 or 10 hour activity is coexisting with the other activity. You have found some kind of a balance. You have found some kind of a meeting point. But there can be no meeting point between the true and the false. Yes, false and false can meet. So you surely would have converted in some miraculous way the true into the false. Otherwise, how is it possible that X and Y are meeting? How is it possible that the mind is picking itself from X and moving into Y? Remember, that does not mean that one has to do the same activity 24 hours. What we are talking of is the direction of movement of the mind. If you are moving towards the center, would you say that I move towards the center 8 hours a day and then I take a U-turn and move away from the center for the remaining 16 hours? What kind of a driver are you? 8 hours you move in one direction and then you take a U-turn and move in the opposite direction. What kind of passion is this? It means there can be no real intensity even in those 8 hours. The mind really has no switch on, switch off facility. You cannot say that this is my passion time, this is my spiritual time, this is my wisdom time, and now let me wear another hat, and this is now my stupidity time, my idiocy. My ego time. But we have been taught these things, right? Wear this hat, wear that hat. There are no hats. And if there are so many hats that you can wear, then you have multiple heads. We have had one fellow who had multiple heads called Ravan. He could wear quite a few hats all at the same time. Have one head, bow it down and be surrendered to passion. Do not have many heads. That's one nice escape to surrendering, right? I have 2 heads. One head I surrender. The other head I don't surrender. So I am surrendered. Who can say that I am not surrendered?
pull from the word and
Why don't you talk about the continuous pull from the center?
they pull from both sides.
But you didn't talk about the other side. You talked only about one side. Talk more and more about the pull from the other side. Sing about the other side. Talk about its pull. Keep talking. Be more sensitive to that other pull. It's just a habit that has come into us to think that only one side pulls. The other side is pulling you even more strongly. Just realize.
सर पैशन की शुरुआत फैसिनेशन से होती है.
Passion begins with dislocation. The word passion is not very applicable for a centered mind. Passion doesn't begin with fascination, it begins with dislocation. When you are pulled away, off center, then you experience a certain pain. That pain is passion. Now you want to return, so you look for means to return. And you're looking for those means continuously. That's what we are repeatedly trying to say. That when the pain is continuous, you cannot possibly be attending to it only sometimes. It's a continuous pain which requires continuous attention.
So it is not mandatory that with the thing, passion, that there will always be happiness. There might be chances that you may not be feeling happy doing it.
We haven't used the word happiness even once. Peace and happiness are not the same, you know that. The one who is looking for happiness is always searching for an object that will give him happiness. And peace and happiness do not go together.
Suppose it's a task. Suppose you're doing translation. So you're initially, would it be that you're doing it for some time and then
Now you see, there is something that brings you to that task. First of all, it's important to remember and ask, what is it that brings you to that task? If it is really the urge of passion that brings you to that task, then there is no question of frustration. But if it is some other miscellaneous reason that brings you to that task, then obviously there would be frustration. A man comes to the railway station to meet his beloved who is arriving by a train. and another man comes to the railway station to fetch his boss as a part of his job responsibility. Now you know who would be frustrated. So, what is it that brings you to that task? Remember, if you are getting frustrated, then you are coming to that task not for reasons of passion, but for some other deceptive reason. It's not the call of the center that brings one here. It is the call of other urges. And then there is adulteration. Then there is a mix-up. And obviously the result will be boredom and frustration. When there is purity in the reason, then there can be no point at which you feel bored and frustrated. Because you remember why you are doing what you are doing. It's a continuous remembrance. Yes, boredom will hit, but it cannot have any power over you. You have no control over the surroundings and circumstances. So occasionally there might be a power cut. Occasionally there might be a fellow who makes noises and disturbs. But these things will cease to have any serious effect over you. That's a nice trick of the mind, right? To say that I am doing something for reasons of passion, whereas the real desirable is something else. And the world exploits you then nicely. Especially the spiritual gurus know very well how to exploit you. You want to keep up a facade that you are pursuing a spiritual passion, so you go there. They very well know that your mind doesn't have a quality that it can really pursue the truth with passion. They know that your eyes are upon something else. So what do? And look at what is happening around you. You go to most of these places and you will find nicely dressed young women. And you will feel quite passionate. You will think you are feeling passionate about God. No, you are not feeling passionate about God. You feel a particular kind of high. You feel it's a spiritual high. It's not a spiritual high. It's a physical high. And then there is nice music which is soothing to the ears. And you feel something rising within your heart. No, it is not rising within your heart. It is just a game of the mind. And you are being exploited by those who know how to exploit you. And then there are sounds and smells, and the entire ambience is such that all your senses feel awakened. It is only the senses that feel awakened. Your awareness has not been awakened. Now you have a nice alibi. You say, no, I felt there, I felt passionate. You felt a certain excitement. You felt a certain excitement. Want to check whether it was passion or excitement? Remove all those factors that bring you excitement and then see what remains. Would you still go there? Remove the sensation. Would it still be attractive? So be very clear about what is drawing you in. Be very clear. The mind is a cheat.